Greetings and welcome to Conversations with Ed. Here we are, got another 6 weeks to come and hang out with you guys. Got a nice time, 6 to 7 p.m. on a Friday evening. I know you want to get ready to get out and get your shine on, but it's okay. Take an extra hour and sit down and listen to what I have to say. We had a lot of things going on. This has been a real interesting summer. And I know you guys have had fun, but I'm going to tell you about some of the good things that we've been doing. And also for the next 6 weeks, the theme is vote, vote, vote. Voter registration, vote, vote, vote. You're going to hear it over and over again. I have a lot of guests coming on during the next 6 weeks. Tonight I have one guest, my very special guest, who I usually start out with. And we're going to talk about what we've been doing to help with this voter registration and some of the things that we'd like for you to do to help us with this voter registration. Before we get started, you know, I have to give my big ups. I was out at McGuire Vets once again. Here's my hat. Go to the VA and get what you have coming to you. Some of you don't even realize that you have benefits. If you're in a combat zone, you're automatically supposed to get 30%. Didn't know that, did you? Go out and see. If you need to ask questions, call me up and ask me questions. Been doing this for a little while now, helping vets get their papers right and get their pensions right. Took me 30 years. I got mine right. If I can do mine, I can help you. You know how to get in touch with me, okay? Now, what we're going to do tonight, as I said, I have a very special guest, my very special guest, and really a special guest because we just had a 10th year anniversary celebration. I know we're going to have to tell you all about that because we had such a great time, and a lot of you watching had the opportunity to come down to Grand Bahama and hang out with us for the last week. We just came back Monday. You know we have to brag about it. It was so fantastic. So when this special guest of mine comes on, be prepared to hear all about that. And once again, be prepared to hear all about voter registration. Before I go, I have to say hello to Nurse Diane, Nurse Linda, all the young ladies in the lab out there at the McGuire VA Hospital, Peggy, Sarah, all of you. You know I love you guys. You guys take such good care of me, and I'm trying to get the rest of the crew to come on out there and get some of that good behavior also. Now, without further ado, let's get going here. We're going to talk about voter registration. I'm going to introduce this lovely lady right here. Hello, honey.
Hi, sweetie.
We've actually had fun. The last week, well, we always have fun, but this last week has been very special. Like I said, it's our 10th anniversary. Grand Bahama wanted to do something for us. They gave us our wedding 10 years ago, and they said, it's 10 years, you should come back. We invited a few friends. About 50 of them decided to join us, and I think that we could say
we had an excellent time.
We had an excellent time. You'll see pictures on Facebook and the whole bit, but if anybody wants to have that kind of fun, now's the time. Grand Bahama's offering all kinds of deals, and we took advantage of one. They are friends of ours. Charlene and I, the only husband and wife goodwill ambassadors for the Bahamas, been dealing with them for over 30 years?
Over 30 years separately and individually.
And together, separately and together, not separately and together.
See, this is what happens when you're on TV with your husband. Okay?
But one of the things, and again, it's nice when you have something really in common. And what we do have in common is the concept of going forward. There's no reason for us to be lagging behind. There's no reason for us to not be in the positions that we want to be in. We can do it, but we have to want to do it. And right now, we have the means. We have someone in office. You've experienced 4 great years. A lot of people want to say he hasn't done anything, but we know that he has done marvelous things in the last 4 years, things that no other president has done. And if you need me to go down the list, I could start out with one, well, actually 2 words. Medicare, Obamacare. Your kids are covered until they're 26 years old now.
That's a big difference.
All right, of course, a major difference, right? Not only are they covered, they can't be turned down. They can't be denied for health care. You can't be denied for health care because of an existing illness. Does that make sense? Is there any reason to not want to have something like that?
You know, what we have to do, Ed, some of us have become very comfortable having Obama as president, but it's left up to us, each one of us, to remember to register. If you're not registered, to vote, to take a friend. And because you're in Virginia, I would say make sure you have your proper ID. You've got to have your proper ID when you go down there. Don't just say you don't. If somebody calls you and says you don't need it, take it anyway. And if you're already registered and you have your proper ID, I want you to check on a friend or a neighbor or somebody's cousin that looks like they might not do it. And also, when I was 16 and I got my driver's license, it was just before we were voting on something. And I remember there was this lady's picture that was in the paper. She was 100 years old, and she was voting for the first time. And do you know I drove her to vote? And this was one of my first times driving.
Yeah.
But she was insisting that I take her.
There's a lesson there, and
this.
exactly what Charlene is talking about. I know all of us have friends. I have cousins, and I won't call any name cousins because I know you'll see this, but you'll know who you are. You say, nah, I'm not voting. Nah, it doesn't make any difference. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. Last year, 4 years ago, Clovia and I went into the Richmond City Jail and registered guys to vote because they in there had enough sense to know how important it is. Mrs. Obama was on the Tom Joyner show this morning, and she made a statement. She said, we all have knuckleheads. We all know knuckleheads who are too silly to get out and understand the value of the vote. If you know knuckleheads, let's give them an education, okay? And as Charlene has been saying for the last 4 years since the last election, volunteer to take somebody to the polls. If they can't go to the polls, if they don't have a way to go to the polls, how are they going to get there to vote? All right? The enthusiasm from last election with, the first black president has kind of died down a little bit. Okay, let's be real about it. But when we sit back and we look and we pay attention past the lies about what has transpired in these last 4 years, there's no way that you can't reelect this man. Now the phones are on, the lines are open. I want you to call in, not just to talk about that. Actually, I would like for you to use this program for me to set up the next 5 programs. I'd like to hear from you what you'd like to hear from me. Okay?
Well, I can start off.
Yeah.
I want you to encourage people to read to their children.
Okay.
Okay, I've heard of too many homes that are without books. If you don't have any books, go to the library. They give away magazines. Or you can buy 50-cent books at the libraries, older books. But make sure your home has books in it. Your children need to see you reading. They know how to dance. They know how to do all the stuff that's okay. But once you read, you can always learn. And so many of our children cannot read. So I think we need to task each other to read.
And it's funny, again, we talk about how much fun we had down at our anniversary celebrations, but there were a lot of roundtable discussions going on, and it was almost like spiritual, because most of the conversations were about dealing with youngsters, mentorship programs. Next week on the show, I'm going to have 2 groups on. One of them is called Transforming Today's Youth. It's an offshoot of another organization that was doing very good up until a couple of months ago, and it broke off, and we just continued going. It's a mentorship program, and we're going to be in most of the schools doing mentoring programs for these youngsters that do want to learn. So what I'm going to say to you is, if you have a child that needs some help and you're not able, get in contact with us, and we will help you get this child some mentorship training.
And you know what else? Remember Pilot?
Yes,
okay.
I do. Yeah.
This was an elderly man. He was like my other father, but he always said, you can keep children out of trouble with proper sports. So you can also, let's put some pressure on our schools to have sports after 3 o'clock with some counselors there. Let the counselors be there so that they can have dialogue with the students, and then they can teach while they're running up and down. We can do math while we're running up and down. We can count and just have a positive dialogue with children.
Well, that would make sense, but again, some of the things what our school board are doing don't make too much sense now. As far as the healthy programs and whatnot, as if you remember from our last session, I brought in my sensei, my Shihan from Henrico Dojo. This program has grown since I spoke to you. We're doing mentorship through that. We're doing the health programs. We're doing self-defense. And we have an anti-bullying program. And everybody is invited to come and join us. That's 5 nights a week right there on Laburnum Avenue. It's called the Henrico Dojo, and you're more than welcome to come in. In fact, I'm going to have Sehan Fox come on a couple of times during the next 6 weeks to tell you about that program. But by the same token, there's a state program that we have become a part of whose main thing is mentorship for these youngsters. We have a lot of youngsters coming from disadvantaged homes. I think that's the right word, disadvantaged homes. We have a lot of youngsters coming out of homes where parents have to work, you know, just like most of us do, but they have to work so hard they don't have time to spend, or don't take time, maybe I should say that, throw a stone a little bit, to help their youngsters, but the youngsters want to do. All of those youngsters that want to do, there are situations available for you now. We are working real hard on that, not just our group, Charlene's group, the Links are very involved with it.
AKAs, all the sororities.
AKAs, the sororities are coming around.
Churches, some churches, and if your church isn't involved, you had a department in your church, and let's get them involved. You know,
the mentorship program right now is probably the most important thing that we can do for our youngsters. I think that is right.
Because some of us achieved a level of competence, and then we started buying cars or joining all these social groups, and we forgot to reach back. When I was growing up, everybody had somebody in their house, some poor cousin or somebody who was having problems within their home. And you always had somebody that kind of lived with you for a while, or you'd see your mom or dad taking food over to them. We need to do that again. People need to know that somebody cares, I think.
That's it. And that's something that we've kind of lost in this generation. I don't know if we did it ourselves by trying to give all of our youngsters everything, make sure that they had everything, even though as we grew up, most of us did have everything. You know, so then you think you're supposed to pass it on, but you don't pass on the principles, and you don't pass on the standards, and you don't pass on the attitudes. So that's my preaching for the day. I do want that to happen. If you want to get involved with any of the mentorship programs that I just mentioned, feel free to call me up. Once again, 804-687-2064.
And you know what I heard this morning?
What did you hear this
morning? You
morning?
can register on the phone, on the
vote,
phone line.
yeah.
I wish I could remember it. I was sitting up here. They were saying it was it? I can't remember.
You can do it online too.
Yeah,
if you're not registered to vote and you can't get down to the place to register, you can go online now and register online and get your name in. Most of you should still be registered from the last election. And you know, all of this to do about the identification, we all have identification of some sort. Maybe some of our elders don't.
A lot of people don't. You've got a lot of young men walking around with no valid driver's license.
Well,
so they need to find out what's valid.
Okay, that goes under the knucklehead.
No, it's others. And because we're in Virginia, and I love Virginia, but I just know that they're going to try something at the last minute. So make sure you have your proper ID. You can get it from the DMV.
If you're not sure, check. That's all. You have time. We still have another couple of weeks. Go out and check and make sure that you're registered. This is so important to you. A lot of you have no idea how important this is, but just for a minute, stop and think about what is going to be taken away.
Let's name some things.
Well, the health care, number one.
That's a big
taken away.
Pell Grants.
The reduction
interest will go up.
The interest on student loans is another thing. Your income tax is another thing that'll go up.
Yeah.
Your doctor's fees. If you have a child that has an illness, you won't be able to get that child health care because they're going to knock down that portion of the health care bill. There's a lot of ugliness involved here, and there's a lot of subterfuge going on in politics as usual, but a little bit more heavy now. We're seeing things now that we haven't seen in the last 60 years, and we're seeing comments. When's the last time you saw a president disrespected?
They refused to call him president.
Okay.
They refused to address him by his proper name.
Yet and still, it's documented that he has done more than any other president in the last 60 years. Now, I'm not going to sit here and do a whole hour on voter registration and how good President Obama is.
Why not?
But I'm going to sit here and do a whole hour on how good President Obama is. So you got my message on that one. Main thing is, as I said, next week I'm going to have 2 groups on that I work with. Both of them I'm very proud of. The one group, well, actually, you've met my guys from Roots, reinventing ourselves outside of the system. The last that you heard, they were out of jail. They had formed their organization, and it was the first organization of its kind that was allowed to go back into the Richmond City Jail and mentor some of these young prisoners. And guess what? They've been able to help quite a few of them as they come out, and these guys gave their word, they gave me their word, they gave the sheriff the word, and they are living up to it. They're creating programs, and they're all following through. They'll be on next week along with the new group, Transforming Today's Youth. So stay tuned for that. The week after that, I'm going to have on an attorney who specializes in accidents. You see all of these ads. If you have an accident, call so-and-so. If you have an accident, call so-and-so. Well, this gentleman is a friend. He's also a contributor to our organizations and whatnot, and he is honest. So Steve is going to come on.
He's a good person.
And he's a very good person. He's going to come on and sit down and tell us some things that we might need to know if a situation does come up where you are hurt and whatnot. Get rid of some of the
You know what I found out today? I'm changing the subject.
Go ahead.
That's wives do. I was signing my book over at the McGuire's hospital.
That's her book.
And I wasn't trying to plug it though. And I like to talk a lot. So I was running, some of your vets came up to me, and one man told me he was homeless. And I said, but you look good. Don't tell people you're homeless. I said, you must be living somewhere. Where'd you shave this morning? And he said, I live across the street. The military, McGuire's has a homing section for people that are homeless. Vets that are homeless can live over there for free from 3 days to a year.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, see now what you just said, that's the information gap, okay? Most people don't know that. You probably just educated a homeless person, veterans. There's no reason for a veteran to be homeless now, okay?
In Richmond.
In Richmond or in the United States, there's no reason for a veteran to be homeless. I have a cousin, and you've met him, down in Atlanta that goes out and goes under bridges and finds guys that are still fighting the war in their own mind, brings them in and helps them get housing. The United States government is looking out for its veterans.
And they told me that if you have toiletries or gently used or new clothing or shoes, they say they don't need toys, then you can donate it to them.
Oh yeah. That should be go without being said. If you have any items in your home that you don't use, period, donate them. And right now, the best thing that you could be donating is school supplies.
That's true. That
there
is
are
so true.
a lot of people. The Sheriff Woody has his program where he gives away school supplies every year. He can't give it to everybody. You know a kid down the street from you, or you see a kid in your candy store or wherever, and you can look at that child and see that they don't have the means, or their family
The
doesn't have
YM
the
and
means.
YWCA are also
Give the kid a
gathering.
notebook. How much is it going to cost you to buy
$1.
a pack of notebooks, paper, and hand it out, or go up to the school even and donate and say, here, give this to some child
who
that
needs
needs
it.
it. Okay? So I'm calling on all of you out there to be a little bit more charitable, but also just to use a little bit more common sense, because these youngsters are going to be the people that are looking out for us when we're real old. I have a birthday coming tomorrow, but I promised my wife I wouldn't tell anybody that I was going to be 49 years old.
Happy birthday,
Thank
Ed.
you, darling. Thank you. So this is a real good week. Okay, we go from anniversaries to birthdays all
And
in one
Leos
week.
are special people. We had so many Leos down in the Bahamas. I mean, now to be honest, this is not the show for the anniversary, but you got to tune into Tropical Beat.
Oh yeah.
On Channel 65 every Saturday night, 3:30 in the morning. Or set your
Party
DVD.
time, right.
It's a party, and we have the chuckadoo, and all kinds of fabulous footage from our anniversary celebration.
Well, we haven't done, and I'll be honest with you, viewing audience, we haven't put together or put as much energy into the show as we should have up to this point, because we've been taking it easy. I mean, to be honest.
You speak for yourself.
Well, you've been taking it easy
I took
too.
a couple of books.
Oh yeah, Charlene wrote her book, and
I
I
got
think
another
all
one
of you
coming
saw
out
it. She
soon.
wrote this book, How to Find Happiness on a Low Stroke, No Budget in 30 Days. And believe it or not, this book is selling like crazy, because it seems like everybody wants to laugh a little bit, and that's what it's full of, laughter. So she has been busy. I personally have been kind of relaxing.
You've been busy too. You've been working with the
with the kids. I work with the kids.
Working a whole lot with the kids.
Yeah, we're doing a lot with the youngsters. I'm teaching martial arts again after 20 years out there with Sensei Fox, and just a lot of good things happening with the youngsters, and I want to see everybody kind of. We did this at one time, and nobody had to ask anybody to do it. We just traditionally, if we saw a kid, we automatically helped the kid.
Or their parents.
Or their parents, yeah.
Because a lot, I remember when crack first came out, and we were saying, what's going to happen to the children of these crackheads? Mm-hmm. And then we have the grandchildren of the crackheads coming up. These are some kids that have never, ever known love.
Yep.
If you go to touch them, they jump.
They jump.
So we've got a big job ahead of us.
Well, it's a big job if one person is doing it.
True.
If everybody's involved, it's not that big a job.
That's
so
true.
the phone lines are open. Give us a call. Give us some thoughts on what you'd like to see for up and coming shows. As I said, I'm going to have Steve on talking about bodily injuries. I am going to do a show with some medical people, because there's some medical issues that we need to discuss as a community. We started it on the special that we did a couple of months ago when I was a guest host, and we had a doctor on that did such a great job. I'm going to ask him to come back on, and a couple other people.
And people need to go for screenings.
Oh yeah,
women need for breast cancer screening, men for prostate,
and all of that kind of stuff. And we'll do a show dedicated to that. And I'll let you know when that one's coming, so that you can get your questions ready to ask live on the show when the guests are on here. But in the meantime, if there's something or a subject that you'd like to hear or like to have discussed, let me know. Now's the time. Let me know, because I am setting up my guest list right now. Have 5 more weeks to do some really positive things, and we want to do them. We want to entertain you, but we also want to educate you. So get busy. Let's get busy. If you're looking at the show, you don't have anything in mind, call one of your friends, tell them to turn on Ed, and see, maybe somebody else has an idea.
Everybody's at the jazz festival.
They should be. This is great. Richmond is actually putting itself on the map. This jazz festival is making a lot of noise, because people are starting to recognize Richmond as a city that has something going on.
Well, you having come from New York might just be starting to recognize Richmond as a city.
This is documented.
Richmond is, I know, and it's been that way for years.
Not like it is now. It's becoming the go-to place. It is. That was on the news today.
Really? Okay.
That's what the whole thing on the news was about.
Which channel?
Channel 6.
Oh, that's a Richmond channel.
Exactly. And they're talking about and especially when they build this new art center.
Oh, yeah. That's
okay.
right.
I mean, Richmond is actually on the growth path. We are becoming the city. Richmond is becoming the new Atlanta.
Okay. Well, we want people to go to check out our websites, www.tropicalbeat.tv and www.popcornmagazine.net. They're very interactive, and we've got a whole, we have a new editor-in-chief. Tandi, our daughter, is going to now be the new editor-in-chief of Popcorn Magazine, and I think the next issue is going to be a replica of 30 years ago, Popcorn Magazine in the Bahamas, Children of the Bahamas. We did it last week, and we did it 30 years ago, so that's going to be interesting.
It's generational change. The magazine is going to the next generation. And Tropical Beat will do that also probably in about 20 years. We're not giving up Tropical Beat yet. We still like to travel.
It's jamming.
It's jamming, that's right. And this is Tropical Beat. There's no getting around it. Miss Mona. I have 2 wives, you see, Charlene and Mona, and I never know which one I'm talking to. But anyhow.
Too much information. Too much information.
But at any rate,
he has one name, and I never know who I'm talking to either.
See, I could be a whole lot of different people, that's right. But at any rate, so are we kind of straight on this point? I'm not getting any response. I'm not getting anybody on the phone calling me up telling me that we're making sense what we're talking about. But education, mentorship, voter registration. 3 very important things. I know I put up 4 fingers. There's one more, medical. And that'll be a big issue that we do talk about in the coming weeks, about getting the right medical care, getting past this business of, oh, I'm not claiming that. The left side of my chest is banging like I don't know what, but I'm not going to claim it. Give me a break.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah, we hear that quite a bit. And I get a little bit aggravated every time I do hear it. But in fact, I had to blast one of my friends, and he finally did go to the doctor.
And you know what else? I'm talking about signs and symptoms. Considering what happened recently with the shootings, if you see somebody that looks like they're about to blow their rocker, call somebody for help. You know, if you know a parent or the medical, I'm not saying call the police unless it's really dangerous, but notify somebody. There were too many warning signs with some of these gunmen that even the psychiatrist said he tried to notify the policeman.
Mm-hmm.
But if you notify somebody, you try to notify them and they don't act, do it again. Don't wait until 20 people get shot.
It's part of this problem, or even the sickness that's evident in the United States. You know, we're so caught up in worrying about terrorism from outside of the United States that we forget about all of the loonies that we have right here. And for that attack on the Sikh church, any church for that matter, we know it from Alabama and going through the civil rights movement, how the bombing of the churches, and we know how that affected us as a race, as a people. But here you have a group of the most peaceful people. I've had Sikhs on my show. I have Sikhs in fact, my doctors are Sikhs, Dr. Sidhu, both husband and wife. I've had Dr. Sidhu's son on the show to explain the difference, because people get confused. They see the turban, so they automatically think they're Muslim. So that makes it okay? No. Even if they're Muslims or not Muslims, we don't have the right or the business to attack anybody in that kind of situation in a church. How would you feel, again, if our churches got bombed up again?
Shouldn't do it anyway. You should not do
No,
it. And if you see somebody, I don't know, let me just lay
No,
off
well, you
this
know,
one,
you're
but-
hearing all of this stuff coming through about white supremacy, and here we go with that nonsense again about the ragheads and so on, so on, so on. So people don't get it. They don't get it. These folks that come into the United States come because they really want to be here. And unless you've been out of the United States into another country, you have no concept of that attitude. And when they come, here we are, we get upset because the Korean has dry cleaners, or because the Chinaman has a store, or because the Indian has a 7-Eleven. We get upset. Well, how come they come here and do that? Well, let me ask you a question. How come we're here and didn't do it? Okay, this is not something new. This is historical. We've always complained about other cultures coming here and doing, and here we have a culture here that has no concept of doing. And I know you've heard the stories before. You've heard people on this particular channel coming on talking about how the dollar doesn't stay in the black community. It stays for something like 2 or 3 hours, whereas other communities it stays for weeks and months at a time. It circulates. We don't trust each other enough to do business with each other. And you'd think that after 60 years now of us being able to come out and talk and be people, that would change. But it's actually getting worse.
And even if it does cost a little bit more money, it's worth it, because you're keeping the dollar within your community.
Well, why should it even cost more? It's probably cost less, because that black man who has the business is willing to do it for less.
Well, sometimes he can't get the product for less.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he's black and they're charging him more.
That's
so
true.
you've got to be willing to.
You know, it's just a shame that in 2012 that we have to have this type of conversation. Good evening, caller.
Oh, yes, Mr. Ed. I'm really enjoying you and your beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wife.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Kudos
that.
to you guys. Still together, looking, she looks beautiful.
Well, we
She's
can't.
a black queen. This is the way a queen's supposed to look.
I hear
This
you.
is what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Well, you look like a prince, too, but I ain't trying to get into that.
Okay.
But anyway.
You got a question for us? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. You're speaking about this new black. It's a new black.
Okay.
We didn't have this before. See, it's like some kind of a spray or something has come in that's evil. Say, and they are against one another, and they are against their own family, and they are against those people come in, my God. You don't know how they make it through that water. They can't speak English. But God makes a way for them. But nobody, like you don't feel nothing for human beings anymore.
Yeah, that's very
love
You
true.
understand what I'm saying? Everything about a house and a car, get a baby.
Bling. The bling is the thing.
And,
You're right.
you're not, they got all the devil. Well, the devil got all this Beyonce and all your naked tail and your breasts and all. Listen, darling, if you don't keep on with your tail up at the television and your legs wide open, they gonna get rid of you because Satan likes that type of thing.
Yeah, I hear you. That's
And
right.
if you don't do it, you won't make no money.
That's right. You're right on
You
target.
understand?
I do.
But this is not about Christ. Do you have to check the Bible?
Okay.
Do you see any of those women walking with Jesus that's naked?
Not a one. You're
Is
absolutely
anybody
right.
naked?
Not one person. You're absolutely
Well,
right.
you don't have to be naked. You don't have to be naked. You save that for your king.
Yeah, I hear
You
you.
close your legs
That's right.
for your king.
All right. Well, I
I'm
thank
just
you.
trying to put it in, darling.
I hear you, and I thank you for
And I
that
bless
call,
you
man.
and your beautiful, beautiful
Thank
wife.
you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye
Yes, sir. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
She's got points. She's absolutely right because the bling, let's get this, let's get that, has taken over the space that you had that you used for other people to share.
You know, you've heard me say this before. I used to be flown to Hollywood, really, when Billboard magazine had their conferences, and all of us that had video programs would be around a table, and we had to decide that we were not going to show. This is BET, VH1, MTV, and so forth. We refused to show any more guns in our videos. Now, I don't really watch video programs that much. I know I don't show any. But what we didn't promise was not to show the garments.
The sex.
Now, I don't show all that either, but everybody else does. So somehow we need to make, we need to make demands as a people, not to look at those shows if that's what they're gonna
Well,
do. And don't turn them on around our kids.
the thing that impressed me the most, and you know what I'm talking about, Charlene and I had the opportunity to meet the king of the Zulu nation. Now, I don't know if folks out there understand the magnitude of that statement. The king of the Zulu nation. That means this man is the king, literally, a
Like
king
the
like
Queen of
this,
England.
right? That can say off with his head, 14 million subjects he has. And we had a 15-minute meeting with him that turned into 2 hours. And then he invited us to join him at his daughter's graduation for a BA. And during the conversations with this man, who's an Oxford grad and is the cultural leader for the Zulu nation in South Africa, he said to me, he looked at me and he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "My brother, the worst thing, the very worst thing that America has sent to us is BET."
I remember.
And I listened to that statement that he made, and I thought about it. And when we came out, I said, "Charlene, you know something, he's right." And not too long after that, we came off of BET. Now, in our homes, we have grandchildren. We have quite a few grandchildren that they are wonderful. We have 8 of them, all right? They go all the way from age of 2 years old, 1 year old, yeah, 1 year old to 24 years old. And they all are individuals, and they all have different attitudes and different mindsets, but guess what? None of them get to look at BET. And I'm saying that because in your homes now where you have young children, a lot of people use the television set as the babysitter. And you can do that to a certain degree, provided you put on the right programming, because there are a lot of educational shows that they've made into cartoons and made fun to help children learn. But there's no reason in the world for a 3 or 4 year old child to be sitting in front of a show watching BET.
And then's going to start doing all the little nasty dances.
And that's
that we
cute.
see
You
some
know,
of us
people
like.
think that that's cute. Yeah, watch what they can do. Oh, that's so cute. That's not cute. It's not cute at all, and especially when they start getting older, okay? It might be cute for a minute to watch your little son doing a hip-hop thing, but you're not going to like it when he's 12 years old and he's coming and giving gang signs and this, that, and the other. So we need to start paying more attention to our children. Mama, you don't need to be in the club at 3 o'clock in the morning if you have a 3-year-old at home. Chris Rock said the first thing that he asks a woman when he's in a club is, where's your baby? And if they say that the baby's home, he tells them, you go home with your baby. We need to get back to parenting. We need to get back to family. We need to get back to friendship. There's something else that's missing. We travel quite a bit, Charlie and I. We've been very blessed with that. Being able to go out and see other countries, other people, how they live. And it's so amazing to see the family structure outside of the United States, the things that are missing in the family structure.
I was
here.
reading an article that Boomer magazine had the other day, about Quincy Jones.
Yeah, Quincy's
And
in
he
it.
says you got to take your children away and let them travel,
You have
so
to.
that they can appreciate what's going on.
What they have. Now, Quincy Jones and my godfather were very, very good friends. In fact, in his book, Quincy's book, he does a whole chapter on the old dude. The old dude is
your daddy.
Is my godfather.
Oh,
yeah.
your godfather.
That's
okay.
Bud Johnson.
Oh, Bud Johnson, that's right.
And even these guys, when we were kids, now these were master musicians and whatnot, and I remember us sitting and listening to these guys talking, and as they were talking, they were teaching.
Of course.
They were teaching us, and because of who they were, we listened. Now, my godson, I just talked about my godfather. My godson is Prodigy from Mobb Deep. All of you rappers, rapper aficionados out there know who that is. Mobb Deep is one of the top rap groups, gangster rap, anyhow, going. See, I do know a little bit about it.
But you don't approve of all that.
No, but I tell you what, since his daughter is becoming of age, he's mellowing out, just like Snoop Doggy Dogg is. I should say Snoop Lion now. He's Snoop Lion. He went down with the Rastas and he got a new name. He changed over. He's not Snoop Doggy Dogg anymore. He's Snoop Lion now. Okay, go ahead, Snoop. But again, Snoop has a whole lot of programs that he does for kids.
And he always has.
And always has.
Let's give him
Puff
credit.
Daddy, Will Smith, all of these guys that we see up here on the stage very quiet. Even Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was one of the biggest contributors to
United Negro
College Fund in history. But you don't hear about that side of it, okay?
And that's another thing we need to do. Those of us who were fortunate to graduate from high school and college, give back. You must reach in your pockets and give something, make it easier for someone else to go to that school.
Yeah, and again, that's something that's missing. And
We don't give.
Well, with my guys, and again, you fellas know who I'm talking about, and I hope you don't get offended by me saying my guys. I haven't been on the tiers in a while. It's been a while since I've been inside the Richmond City Jail talking, but I do stay in contact with my guys.
Well, a lot of them are out now.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, when we talked, and they'll be on, some of them be on next week, and they'll co-sign what I'm saying. The rule was, if I help you, then you have to reach back and help somebody else. And they have lived up to it. And this is the way we always was. I remember as a kid with my mom and dad living upstate in Pennsylvania, in the mountains, how when one of the brothers wanted to come up, they could come up and stay with us until they got a job, got themselves situated. And our home was almost like that. It was rotating. We always had somebody coming up from out of state, from South Carolina, from North Carolina, cousin so-and-so, uncle so-and-so, aunt so-and-so, coming up, because that was that was with the northern migration. That's when all the blacks were going from south coming up north to get established.
And believe me, they stop off in Richmond, Virginia.
Probably so. You had to change trains somewhere along the
Yeah.
line. You know, we had to get on a different train. But that attitude of reaching back and helping somebody else kind of got lost because of meism. There's so much meism. Now, my bling, my this, my that, and the other. There's so much of that the humanity, the aspect of brotherhood,
It's
gone.
Not gone completely.
No, because in certain groups of people, it's still there.
But we have to remind each other to do that. You know, we get very comfortable very easily. It's so easy to get comfortable in what you're doing, but you've got to step outside of your comfort zone sometimes and just do something special for someone else.
And you know what happens when you do that?
You feel good.
You feel great. When you see the success. When I see some of my guys now, I can give a name. When I see Rick with his car business now, okay, this is a guy that made a promise, and he got out and he did everything that he was supposed to do to make it happen. Nobody gave it to him. He got out and he worked on it. And I think that attitude, that concept is alive and well if we do it.
If you make a concerted effort.
Okay? So I'm letting you folks know once again that there are mentorship programs available. There are things available, and we have an excellent producer who's coming up here now giving us water because he could tell that we needed it. That's Leroy. Leroy, I think we're going to have a show where we can showcase you guys behind the camera because you do such great work. You make all of us look like stars. And I think that's something that we're going to work on. You hear that, folks? That's one of the shows we're going to have to try to have. We're going to try to have a producer's show so that the producers can tell us what they think we should be using this great opportunity for. This is a great opportunity. And I don't know if you folks have noticed the quality that has gone up, has come up. Okay. Good evening, caller.
Yes, how y'all doing this evening?
Oh, we're having a great time, can't you tell?
Oh, yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I was just thinking, you know, one of your shows could be about how y'all have such a great relationship. You
That's
know?
very interesting, you know.
I'm serious, you know, y'all are beautiful together.
Well, I thank you.
You know, and that's kind of unique, okay?
I hear you.
If you know what I
We can talk
mean.
about that now.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Now, that's very good. You know, being that this is the week, you know, this was our anniversary week, 10th year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
And we had a ball.
and we had a great time. As I just said, we had a whole bunch of friends and family come down to Grand Bahama and just hang out for the week, and it was just fantastic. And a lot of people ask us, you know, what is it? What do you guys do? Well, it's very simple. We like each other. That's the first thing. You have to like each other, okay?
Yeah, I think it's more than that, though.
Well, it is.
You have to be best friends with. I think this. I know this is my best friend. You know, I know that.
That's beautiful.
He has a great sense of humor, and so do I. And he told me before we were married, once we get married now, you cannot act like you think you're supposed to get married. And I tell young people that you gotta have humor, because life is funny, and you can't take each other too seriously. But you still have to be sensitive to know that sometimes somebody needs an extra hug, or I do.
Yeah.
And women, if you got a man, you got to cook for him. I'm telling you that. Don't expect him to go out every night and don't go eat out, and don't get really, really big. And men, don't you get big either, because nobody wants any. I mean, we all like something to hold on to, but
Oh, yeah.
you got to work at it. It's not easy being married. Now, I was married before, as was Ed, and I was divorced for many, many years. And I have friends now that still, ex-friends that still got mad at me when I got married again. They said, "You said you weren't going to get married again." I said, "Well, I was joking. I didn't know what I was talking about. I found somebody that I really do love now. And why not? Why can't I get married? And I don't need anybody else's approval." So if you find somebody that reaches your whole heart and your soul, and you know it, it's a spiritual connection.
And I agree. And you know what I love? He's not insecure
Oh no.
about whatever you say out your mouth. It kind of reminds me of I look at Mr. and Mrs. Obama, right?
Oh
And
yeah, they love each other
he
too.
doesn't care what she says out her mouth. I mean, like it doesn't it doesn't, you know, she doesn't have to look over him and say, can I? You know, she just free.
Well, see, you
And that's the way y'all are. You know, I love that.
And that's the way everybody can be, because first of all, you have to realize that you're dealing with an individual.
But
And
you just said that big word.
And people start acting, as Charlene was saying earlier, people start acting when they get married, they start acting like they think they're supposed to act once that they're married. And they lose the magic of what made them attracted to that person in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is still my girlfriend.
Isn't that nice?
Oh no, but it's true. It's still my girlfriend. I treat her like a girlfriend because she's magical.
That's right.
And
That's right.
And he is too.
and see, and people sometimes have a problem with expressing their feelings. They don't want to let people go, oh, no, that's not manly. You know, I can't say that. But this woman has seen me cry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and she's seen. I had brain surgery. Okay, and this woman had to drain the fluid off of my brain. Okay, now how much closer can you get?
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, and it's not magic. You know, people again. You know, down there at the anniversary celebration, people were saying, "Oh, how do you guys do it? How do you got it?" All you have to do is want to do it, and
Yeah.
realize that there are two people.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's going to be a difference of opinion somewhere along the line. Okay,
Yeah.
there's going to be a disagreement somewhere along the line, but
Yeah.
you deal with it like two people.
And don't let, and anybody that I know that's getting married, I said, don't let your family break up your marriage.
Oh, yeah.
Because they
Right.
get very jealous. Well, you used to do this, well, I'm not there anymore. And then people would ask us, how come you don't go out anywhere? Well, why do we have to go out? We have what we have at home. You know, we go out sometimes, but we don't have to
But
be
when
at the
we go
club.
out, we go to South Africa. We go.
Yeah.
We go
But
far.
listen, I appreciate you asking that question. I hope that we've kind of answered it for you.
Yeah, I still want a show about it, though.
Okay, we can do that. We can get some folks on and talk about it. Do a little round table. How about that? You want to
Yeah.
come on?
No.
So you're welcome. You have a great personality. It seems
Yeah,
like,
no.
and it sounds like you would make somebody a good partner.
Oh, well, I probably would. I wouldn't doubt that for a bet. But see, like I'm saying, there's a lot of little things that need to be discussed because you have too many couples out here that I don't know. It's just something is missing. You
Well, a
know?
lot of them are in competition with each
Yeah.
other. See, and you know, you're not supposed to be in competition. It's a team.
Exactly.
Okay, and the
Exactly.
biggest mistake people make, I think, nowadays, when you meet somebody, you're auditioning. Everybody is auditioning. And then once they get together, they forget when the audition stops. Okay?
Yeah, and I think you should be comfortable with yourself
Yeah, you
first.
have to be comfortable with yourself.
You know,
Without a
first.
doubt. Without a doubt. That's what I meant about auditioning. People are
You don't
afraid
have to lie. You know, just say, this is me, take me or leave me, you know?
Well, also lean a little bit too. Now you got
Oh,
to.
yeah, lean a little bit, but I'm talking about, you got a lot of people that tell some big lies.
Oh,
about this
absolutely.
stuff.
That's the
all I'm
audition.
saying.
That's the
And just
audition.
love who you are.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only way, if you love you can love other people.
And I'm
See
going to tell you
that?
what my mother used to say, what my mother told me. And she said, when you meet a man and you're going to marry him, love him for who he is now.
That's
Don't
right.
expect him to get better after you marry now.
Yeah,
No,
that's
don't try to-
true.
don't
That's
try to
true.
change.
Don't change them because what she
Don't
said it only
go
goes down.
changing.
But it didn't go down with
That's
us,
right.
it went up.
Don't go changing me now.
All right. Nice conversation, young lady. Thank you.
Thank y'all, and
Okay.
have a good evening.
Okay.
And listen, I'm going to put a plug in for Bahamas Air because they do fly out of Richmond. You can go to Richmond International Airport, the old Bird Airport, and get on the plane as long as you have your passport and go to Grand Bahama Island. And in 2 hours you're there, and that's what we did. And it
My
was so
son
beautiful.
my son just called me about 5 minutes ago, and he just getting back.
There, see what I mean?
All right.
Okay, and
Yeah.
did he go with somebody?
Yeah, him and his girlfriend and their family went down there. I think Monday, and they're just getting back today.
All right, and I bet
Yeah.
you they came back with a smile.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'll tell you.
I told him just to enjoy everything because I used to go, and I wanted him. I've been begging them to go. You know, I've been begging both my sons to go, and this is the first time I wanted them to just Oh, it's so beautiful there.
Well, now you need to go too.
do.
Okay.
I am.
All right.
I'm definitely going to go. I've decided to go back.
All right. Well, you keep watching now. I have 5 more weeks up here, and I'll try to arrange a love show. Okay.
Oh, great.
And watch Tropical Beat, because we're going to, I think, give away a free trip for 2 to the beautiful islands of the Bahamas.
All right. That'll be
Bahamas Inn.
beautiful.
Okay. Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice.
That was
Very
nice.
nice call, yeah. And it's nice to know somebody wants to know secrets of affection. And the secret that we have of affection is that we respect each other.
Yeah.
I think that's got an awful lot to
Yeah,
do with it.
I think
There's
so.
a lot of mutual respect and a lot of appreciation for each other's abilities. Charlene has quite a bit of talent.
As do you.
Yeah, well, they match, okay? Okay. They match. Now, you know, people don't realize we were friends first, okay? Yeah, we were good friends. Charlene actually had gone basically around the world and never even held hands, okay? Then, once that friendship got to be solid and whatnot, and we decided that we were going to get married, it was just like the natural thing to do. There would have been something wrong if we didn't get married.
True.
Okay, now again, we're just celebrating 10 years. We've been together 15 years. I was married for 32 years the first time, and biblically, till death do us part. And I thought that my life was over when my first wife died. But my friend helped me get through it, and 5 years later, here we are. Got married, and now 10 years after that, we're still married and we're still smiling, and we're still trying to promote relationships, because relationships do work, and nobody should be alone. Enough said. Now, back to voter registration. I want you to make sure that everybody on your block is registered to vote. Take it upon yourself. General conversation. A lot of us don't even talk to our neighbors. Now's the time to get out and get with the neighbors and make sure everybody has gone down and done what they need to do, so that when November comes, there's no surprises. All of the tricks are coming out. As you've heard about the different rules they're trying to pass to prevent people, and guess who the people are? Let me see. Who are the people?
Color,
they're trying
people
to
of
get?
color.
Okay, to keep from voting. Don't let it happen to you. Do exactly what you have to do to get in there for that 2 seconds that mean a lifetime. You have to get prepared right now to vote for this man, because if you don't, your whole life is going to change.
I believe you.
It's the truth. Their whole life is going to change. You don't appreciate the changes that have taken place in the last 4 years because nobody's bragging about them. That's my one fault with the administration right now. They don't brag enough. They don't tell you, the public, enough about what they're doing. They don't tell you how they've changed laws that needed to be changed for years and years and years. And this is not racial. This is the health care law is for everybody. That's not just for black people. The college tuition rule is not just for black people. It's for everybody. He's not just a black president. He is the president of the United States, and he is doing things for the country that the country never had done before, and that will benefit this country for many, many, many years to come. You and your children and your grandchildren will benefit from what this president is doing right now. Ask yourself, how much does it cost you for health care now, if you even have health care? Most of you don't have health care.
And you know, on August the 12th, some big new portion of the health care bill
Comes into effect, right.
So check it out.
Check it out. Comes into effect. You have the prescription laws. You have the no turn down. Nobody can be refused. You can't be thrown off. You can't outlive it. You can't do anything other than benefit from the program. So once again, Conversations with Ed started out with my lovely wife here, my partner. I wanted to get started like that just to let you know there's a little humor and a little good intention involved. The next 5 weeks, we're going to have different people come on. I want you to be involved. If you're watching tonight, make sure that you tell your friends to watch next week. Also, set your DVRs for 3:30 Sunday morning on Channel 65, check out Tropical Beat. Tropical Beat is coming back. A lot of you remember
It's
Tropical
back.
Beat, but it's been a while since it's been on because, as we said, we've just been kind of just having fun.
On the CW network, that's
On
late
the
Saturday.
CW, late Saturday, or if you want
Channel
to say early
65.
Sunday, Channel 65, 3:30 in the morning. If you have friends that live up north, D.C. area, we're on every Sunday on Channel 32 to 8 WHUT,
At
7:30 p.m. Going to see a lot of brand new shows coming from Tropical Beat, as well as some of the old favorites. We'll be sticking those in as the archives, but we're going to do a whole lot of brand new shows. We have shows that you haven't seen from West Africa, from South Africa, from different islands in the Caribbean, jazz festivals and things that we never took the time to edit and put out, but we're going to do that now, and we're going to be doing some brand new stuff.
Stuff we gonna do brand new.
We're going someplace. I'm setting
I'm
us up.
ready to go.
See,
That's
what I
the
mean.
good part
I'm
about how
setting
does
us
our
up
relationship
for a
work? We
trip.
travel,
I'm
you know?
setting us up for a trip. So I want to thank you guys once again for allowing me to come into your home. I hope that you'll have that same hospitality for the next 5 weeks at the same time. As I said, if you do have an idea for a show, got a pen out, edcoleman0811@gmail.com. edcoleman0811@gmail.com. You might notice that 0811, I accept all happy birthday salutations. But that's the email. Send me the email and let me know if there's something that you'd really like to hear, a conversation you really like to hear. We're getting ready to count down and get out of here for the night. I hope you've enjoyed listening to me as much
The party
as we.
starts in a minute.
Yeah, we're gonna go start celebrating my birthday as soon as we leave here. Anybody that wants to come by for a drink, come on.
That's a crazy man. I might go home and see 20 people there.
out there.
But I don't think so. We're not going home, first
that's
of all.
Not right away anyhow. But thank you for watching. I would like for you to please let your friends know that the show is on. We'll be on for the next 5 weeks at the same time, same station, and we're going to have some very interesting programs coming up for you, some very informational programs. And see somebody's trying to call in now. I think we might have time to squeeze in one more call. But in the meantime, you stay tuned to us, okay? One last one.
Quickly.
Good evening, caller.
Hey, baby. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
That's all I got to say.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye now.
Bye now. That's nice.
That's a good way to end
That's
the
the show, right. All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in. We hope that you're with us here next week. And whatever you're doing, I'm going to steal from Tropical Beat. Keep smiling, keep jamming.
Stay tuned for more conversations with Ann.
Okay, good deal.